All right, well, I guess I'll give this another try. Um, I now have my temperature monitors up and some ample aeration is the only word I can think of going on with my computer. So hopefully it will not decide to get too hot and just end the stream for me tonight. But we'll see what happens. Airflow, I guess, maybe not aeration, airflow. Anyway, so I pretty much left off where the stream was so abruptly dropped on me last night, and I will just pick up from there. And so that was troubleshooting these last few bugs where I could not figure out what was going on. um, because here I have, so this was trying to troubleshoot some code I had changed in targets, which is on the command line, instead of running the entire test suite, you could specify specific tests that you want run. And so this is the module or whatever you want to call it that parses out the tests that you've specified and then figures out of all the tests in your test suite which ones it wants to run. So there's some tests failing with that, and I was taking a look at the diff here and had a hard time figuring out what was going on. So what this is showing me is that this array key point is a reference to another value within basically this variable here. So this is pointing to expected. Well, it's a very long array, as you can see. Expected runs. Let's just do a closer one. Run one here. Then tests, and then tests, and then this test1.php, which is, well, am I reading this right? Tests, oh yeah, right here. Then there it's pointing to tests class 1. So basically this array key is pointing to the same, or not this, yeah, this array key, this array element is a reference to this array element. And I was trying to figure out how that could possibly be failing. And the answer is, well, because the keys themselves are different. So that was what I was trying to figure out when everything just kind of shut down on me. So now the question is, where did I make this change? Well, I guess I can just see if I can pull up a helpful diff here from JIT. So I think it was right here. Which line is this telling? About 1082. So this is setting, right? Well, what are we doing here? We're setting, oh, here, this name. So we're setting this name to this, but what I think I want is just, I don't want the name of the entire test, I just want the name of the method, which sits under test. So I think if I do that, I have some different errors now. So let's see here. I was expecting 5. This test depends on test 5, which was never run. So I have a feeling I may have done the same thing here where I'm resolving dependencies. Yeah, so dependency here, what line is this? Like 396 or so? So dependency is a method test. So how am I? So part of the problem is I split out method test from function test. So oh, help if I looked in. So function is the name. So I think this should be name maybe. Undefined. So let's see here. So let's do what I used to set. A function to for discover class maybe. So here I create a function test. What did I set function name? Function equals name, and tests would have just been the name of the method. So I'm not quite sure why that's failing then. So what do I have here? I have 3 failures. These are all in test dependencies. So this test depends on so unrun depends. Oh, we're not You're not getting the namespace. So oh no, please tell me. I have a bad feeling that a reflection method, it just returns an empty namespace, and it does not pick up the namespace of its class. Got a bad feeling about this. So class will be equal new ReflectionClass. Okay. And for each class, get methods as method. Echo method get name namespace method namespace name. Oh, don't know why I don't want to put closing parentheses after these method names. Well, there you go. That explains that. So that's a bummer. So do I really have to I guess I have to grab the class and then grab the namespace off the class. And I'm just checking to make sure this actually always ever returns a reflection class. So what the heck was the function name or the method name? Get declaring class. But wait a second. So if it's in a class, then oh. Okay, so I guess I gotta look up this resolve test name. Where do I define this function? And run. Oh no, tests. Okay, and so we have some assertions here to make sure we're getting past. So this one makes sense. Either the default namespace is 0 or it ends in a trailing namespace operator. Ensure that the namespace is included in the last name. So either the okay, either the default class is 0 or the default namespace is not in class 0. What happens if I just so if test is an instance of method tests, the namespace is going to be an empty name, just the empty namespace. Otherwise, it's going to be and then class is going to be whatever the class is. Otherwise, namespace is going to be that test namespace, and class is just going to be the empty string. Oh, wait. Yes. Okay. So I think what this is saying is, misread that. This test. Oh, and now we need to, okay. We need to append okay. So this is all making me think maybe switching to reflection. May not be the answer. I think I may press on with the exercise anyway because I think having the sort of the structure of the different reflection, the reflection functions, the reflection methods is nice to have. But the problem is and we've run into this a couple times. Although I guess I could just change the condition on this function. Because the problem is right, the fact that I'm doing my own parsing, there's a bunch of information that I know that reflection can't take for granted. Like, for instance, let's get file name, right? Since we have pulled whatever it is we're looking at, function name or class name, out of a file that we have parsed, we know that, right, we pulled it out of file name, so we know we have a file name. Whereas the reflector here, the reflector API, doesn't necessarily know where we got this class name from. So it might return false if it's an internal class or extension. And I'm just trying to think here. We also ran into that issue with getting closures back, where getting a closure, basically a callable of whatever function or method that we have that we've reflected, it could return null if some sort of error happens, which we should theoretically never get, because in reflecting that method or in reflecting any particular method or function, we've already determined that those exist, so and that they're callable. So it's unclear to me what would cause an error if we try and then get a callable out of that reflected function. So it may be the case where I'm still going to need to use reflection to support attributes, but it may be the case that we don't want to hold on to the classes after that. We just want to store whatever information we need in a format that I've already sort of curated or normalized, whatever you want to call it, validated. So it's difficult to know what to do there, I guess. But I guess my inclination is to push on. I guess maybe what I can do is, since I've changed the semantics here, well, I'm gonna have to take a closer look at that function now. Oh, that's right. That function's in tests. So this is actually not a great I probably want to ensure, because I'm obviously assuming here that default namespace is never blank, so right. So okay. So what is the test I want to do here to make sure? I guess we want to look for a namespace separator so I want to say either there's no class name or this is probably passing because if you try and find what's um, the thingy here. So haystack needle. Haystack is going to be foo. Needle's going to be the empty string. Oh, they got rid of this warning. Well, okay. So I guess the other check we want to do here is either so if we don't have a default namespace, and stir pos returns what? False if the needle is not found, and false equals stir pos class and the namespace separator. So that's what we want to ensure. And let's just test that. One. Oh, so either we don't have a default class, or we don't have a default namespace, and we don't have a namespace separator in the class name, or the default namespace is in the default class. What's going on? 3 failures. Why aren't I getting an this is why. Everything is conspiring against me. Although I still don't feel like I'm getting my failed assertion here. Unless I'm just swallowing, because some of my tests are not quite ideally structured, so there's a decent chance I am just swallowing the, like I'm getting the assertion error and I'm just logging it, and then I'm swallowing the logged error message because I don't have my test set up so that we catch every error. Test dependencies. So 33. An assert event is and setup, I think I saw there. Well, that doesn't seem to be the case. Which one was this one? Test dependy tests. Oh, yeah, I know why this pet, because this is an or. So right, so this condition fails, but then we just come right down here and say, hey, yeah, the fault namespace is in the empty string is in the default class. All right, so or Sterling default namespace is greater than 0, and oops. Let's try that on for size. Okay, there we go. This isn't necessarily super helpful because it's not telling us where that occurred, but anyway, okay. All right, back to passing tests. Well, I can see my computer's temperatures are slowly creeping up here. Um, but I guess I'll keep going. I think I am going to get a little bit more water first, though. So I will be back in a second. Maybe I'll turn up the fan as well. I doubt that will do anything, but hey, you never know. So let's just set this to 3, and I'll be back in a few minutes here. Okay. Hey, I beat the timer this time. Okay, so I guess we're down to oops. Gotta get my screen split up correctly here. So down to the last bit of it here. Which hopefully a lot of the work will be fairly easy after going through sorting this out for the method tests that was added. But this is going to be a reflection function. So here in so discover file. So in this test info, are we reflecting the function here? Yeah, we are. So function. So what did we do up here for class? I guess I'm just reflecting it again. Well, I guess what I'll actually do here, right? Because in I only, here in ClassTest, I never actually stuck a reflection class in here. I just updated the setup and teardown. So I guess I'll do that here too. So the only place this needs to be changed right now is here and here. And so let's see where this will no longer be old. In fact, I think we're about ready to delete that function. Just clear that out, and then set up function. So set up function, teardown function. Tries to grab the name and setup name, teardown. Okay. Yeah, so we're actually reflecting this class twice. So that's something I could definitely clean up, but okay. Sorry, I'm just seeing what's going on with my computer here. I may actually have to wrap up the stream because my computer seems to suddenly be getting quite hot. So I guess I'm gonna have to upgrade my computer if I really want to get serious about streaming, which is kind of a bummer. So I guess here we're just gonna do so expects a callable. Test setup callable, and then same thing here. That was a fixed map, right? Then see if that makes that happy. Abe. Call Abe. Not tonight. All right. Maybe I'll keep going because although now is sort of where all the nasty work begins, I suppose. Because now the next step here would be to go through here and pull out stuff that substitute it out with reflection, or reflectors, I guess is the technical term for it, and then clear out the stuff that is not needed here. So path runs test, that's all fine. This is all fine here. Directory test, this is fine because this is not an actual code construct. Neither is a file test. So basically just have the path name and then the test. So function test here is where we start to get into it. So if we so file namespace class goes away actually. So would function, I'm a little bit confused what the difference between function and name is. I suspect this is because I was doubling up FunctionTest with both functions and methods. So function, like if this was a function, class would be blank and the function would just be filled in with the function name. And then the name would also just be the function name. Well, I guess I don't need to guess. I can just look here. So function was the name of the function, and then the name was also the name of the function. But I believe in a class then, function would just be the name of the method. Right, or if this is the method, if we were sticking a method in here instead of a function, function would just be the name of the method, and the name would be basically the fully qualified name with like the class prepended to it with the double colon. And then again we have setup and teardown and setup name and teardown name, because for a function these would just be the same. This would be, right, the setup name would just be the name of the function, and this would also just be the name of the function, because in PHP you can use the name of a function to invoke the function. But if this is a method, we would stick the method name here, whatever the method is that implements setup. And then when we actually came to run the method, we would create an actual callable that we would stick here, which would be an instance of the class and then the method name. Which if you stick those in an array, PHP can execute that as callable. So I guess what I'm saying here is everything, like, well, we want to it's not clear to me we actually even need it's callable, because the same thing is here, right? This would be, if this was if you're putting a method in here, this would be the name of the method, this would be the class name double colon method name, and then this would be the array that would have the object instance and then the name of the method, which could actually be executed. So we could probably take everything out except we can just turn this test into a reflection function and take everything out except for the group. So, in fact, we can model this off of method test. Where here we only keep the name because, well, we probably want to do that regardless, I suppose, just for consistency. But for method test, I explicitly held the name because otherwise, every time we wanted the name of this test, we'd have to manually stitch together the class name and the method name. So this is pretty much what FunctionTest would look like. Which I guess just go ahead and do that. Of course, I'm a little bit nervous how much stuff that's going to break. So maybe just do this piecemeal and take out the class name, because I feel like at this point that shouldn't be used anymore anywhere, other than perhaps in my test suite. No, okay. Let's next pick out setup name and teardown name. Oops. So what did that say? 551 and 556. And then it was for run in 582. And then 607. Okay, oh, again, helps to save all the files. All right, so let's see here. This is in test run file. Oh. Guess I don't know how to just close a window without closing the underlying buffer in Vim. I know just enough Vim to slow myself down. This is going to be edit tests, test runner, and I think test files, test logs, oops, test logs, errors when deleting, okay. Oh, okay, right. Oh, I guess we only used. All right, well, so where did I delete here? So this is going to be. Get short name. Yeah, okay. Um, so I guess the next thing then is to change this into a reflection function. So new function test. So this no longer needs to be conditional. We can just assign it. So info, right now we're setting test to info name. Let's just see what we're doing here. So that's a fully qualified function name. So let's just be really dumb here. Well, and we'll just instantly reflect the we'll just create a new reflection function and stick it in there. All right, for run, this is in 5.6. So who calls this? Run method calls that. And we can't necessarily abstract that. We need to hand in a callable. So I guess we're going to do the same thing here. It's going to be callable equals, what is this, test get closure. All right. It broke fewer stuff than I thought it would. Fewer or less? Probably less stuff. So this is in a test runner, test directories, and then test individual paths. So what is our, yikes. $257. Oh, and this is on our old friend, make test. So make directory test. Do I have make function test? I do have. How did? Well, anyway. I guess none of this is failing actually because I'm a little bit surprised none of that's failing. Although for all I know, it might be. So setup name, teardown name can go away. So test is now going to turn into new reflection function. Well, I guess, since we just set the, let's just keep that way. Okay. Oh, let's hack up the correct thing here. So we'll hang on to the name. We'll hang on to the group. And all that will go away. And let's see where that leaves us. $543. File goes away. Namespace goes away. Get on delete function. I did delete function. So function's going to go away. That can go away. Test setup and so that's all fine. Oh, yeah, I was looking in the wrong thingy there. So 295. So now this is just going to turn into test, get file name. I guess we'll hang on to that to do right there, and then 374. This is going to be and run. Of this test. Errors. Okay, so now here's where this is why I tend to extend all my classes from something called struct. It's not actually just for this, it's more for trying to correct typing mistakes and whatnot, but basically I defined magic setters and getters that basically throw an error saying, hey, this property is not defined. So even though I'm not actually running static analysis on my tests, which maybe I should, but it seems like not worth it. I don't know, because I have to go through and type into everything. But anyway, um, the point being the fact that I have this here is anytime I try and set some sort of bogus property or access a bogus property on any of my classes, I get that error without the help of static analysis. So this is happening, it looks like, in 245. So that goes away. Let's just pull this up again and see what. So name can stay, function goes away, test goes away, group can stay, test becomes, it's going to be just test, oops, test, name. And then namespace can go away. If we have a namespace, I guess we can just leave that like that. Oh wait, okay, yeah, actually that's actually callable, so that's fine. Yeah, is that gonna fix everything? Not everything. Oh, wait a minute, where did I? Okay, I deleted too much stuff. I need to, all right. So basically I need to sort out namespace here. Namespace equals spec namespace. Then we want to tack on the namespace separator. So now this just becomes namespace. And then this also becomes, except I can get rid of that. And this is going to go the same way. Oops. Oh, except it's not going to be namespace. It's going to just be namespace. So let me just double check that. I think that should be all right. Yes. Okay, so that cleans all that up. And now I guess we can do the same thing with class name. Although I'm wondering now, well, yeah, I do use name, right? I think I use this. Let me just double check that. I must because I'm using it in FunctionTest. Yeah. Right. So still want. We may not actually need that in ClassTest here. And I think this function is the last thing in there. Okay. All right, so I suppose the easiest way to do this is to just have, well, let's comment this out at the moment. Get rid of that, and then I kind of feel like for consistency, I want to call this test. I'm kind of inclined to call it class, but right, like for function we called it test, and in method we called it test. So do it like that. Which kind of makes me think we should put the name in here too, just for consistency. But if I don't ever use it, then is that a foolish consistency is something or other? Foolish? Of course, if I use it everywhere, let's start here and discover. Where is everything broken? Here. So let's just comment that out. Here I'm going to keep it in there. It's going to go up there. This is, I assume, in discover class. Do we? Yeah. And we immediately overwrite. Well, not immediately, but down here at the bottom. So I wonder, and I suppose we also, yeah, because we have test here. Well, you know what? Let's and I think ReflectionClass actually has just has the class name in here. Yeah, so this would be ClassTest test name, but anyway, so now what this means is file can go away, namespace can go away, test equals class, I think. So where was info coming from? No, do we pass? I think we must just pass an info in there. Yeah. Okay, discover looks good. Actually, as long as we're in here. So where's info used? Do they even use that anywhere? We don't. So this is going to be ReflectionClass class, and we don't need to reflect that anymore. Are we using class name in here? Looks like we probably are, but discover class now. It's going to be info name, I believe, right? Discover 537. So because right here, the name can either be a class string or a callable string. PHP stand is yelling because we can pass a class string in there, but we can't pass the callable string in there. So this was I actually just deleted this assertion in that discover class function. What are you talking about now? Wait, all right. Let's take care of the real errors first. So this is going to be class name. So what was that on 589? Oh, this is a reflection class. Oops. I don't remember how to do templates and let's just see what that does. Okay, I'm gonna have to look this up. Writing PHP code. Classes and interfaces. Intervals, union, intersection, blah, blah, generics. Let's just see what this has to say about anything. At template T. Oh, is it T? There's some way to do T of reflection class. Is that all I need to do? Oh, for Christ's sake. Please just leave me alone. Okay. Oh, and now it's doing the same thing up here, isn't it? I may just have to. But I have a feeling like my errors are gonna like triple. Well, I feel like I'm going down a rabbit hole that except this is going to be mixed. This is going to be totally broken. Whatever this thing about not being stupid is, I may have to go turn it on. Yeah, okay. Do not want this. Where am I here? What was this change? Okay, that I know I don't want. Oh, it was deleting that space there. So we're back to here where we have somewhat reasonable code. And that's my one error in Discover. Okay. PHP stan neon. Is this like documented anywhere? Like, what is setting this false? Does this have other implications? Oh, config reference. Oops, it's not what I wanted. Of course, it's not in there. Is it in here? I feel like I may have, no, it's down here. Okay, PHP stan. Okay, this better not, wasn't I just on this page? All right. Well, instead of templatizing that, maybe the answer is in that, so where am I here? Oops. All right, this is in Discover. Can I just put that and it'll be happy? Looks like it. All right, thank God. So this is going to be like, why is this bugging me now about this? Or would, I guess I just changed that, huh? Okay, let's sort out run first. All right. And function, oops. Oh. So what am I doing here? So I guess I don't actually need to. This is going to be I guess, oops, what's going on here? Test. So I guess I don't necessarily need this unpacked construct, but let's just see what happens here. Oh, well, the problem is it's here, unpack construct. This is going to be unpack. So I guess the question here then, so I've said args is an array. Let's just look at what our options are here. Reflection class. I guess we're just going to call new instance args. Return. Return class new instance args. Oops, args. Args. Actually, I don't even think we need that. Array. Okay, that makes them happy. So 34, go. Last test name, and where are we? 391. I think that'll sort that out. And then finally targets. Wonder why I thought that was the first one I wanted to open, honestly. Strange class, test, this is going to be name. $4.99. Name. 153. Name. 62. Group. This can be I think that's going to be test. Let's just sort that out. $10.63. Oh. Don't need a name. Not as many errors as I had thought. But I have a... So what was the name of this function? Unpack, construct. So I don't actually use that anymore. Right. So I have a feeling a lot of this is going to be here in a class test. So let's pull up tests here, see what's in here. Group. Guess we're going to have to set the namespace again. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so namespace, we don't need the namespace, but we do want... And this is not going to be... It's going to be ReflectionClass, setup. Is that all we have? Looks like it. $196. Oh, class. Test name. 215. $217. This is making me really wonder if I should keep the test name in there. Well, this targets, test, process, user targets. So this is also a class test, so group. Try that out. I just have a failure. Text runner, test files, test logs, error, constructor. So this is the constructor error. Test. So what does assert events do? So where do we use expected? Zero. So I have a feeling if source is an instance of reflector, source equals Strangetest format variable source. Make that work? Nope. Why didn't that work? Oh, because I'm just passing an array here. Test logs error. Oh, actually, I think the error is not in there. I think it's in the runner. Yeah, we want class name. Now we're down to this one error. Tests. Test corner. Oops. Equal offset type. This string. Let's just see what happens. I have a feeling whatever's happening here, this is Assertion error. This is in 43. So, yikes. Okay, this isn't necessarily making a lot of sense to me. Contents. Oh. Okay. I don't know. Let's just make this thing. Let's just force that to a string. Oh, that doesn't help. So, the type. Source is of type. Sources of so I think this is where we want to check if source is a object. Although who's calling this? I suppose I should 461. Guess I should check out, see what's going on here. Test errors on insufficient arguments. And then that goes to 66. So let's just object source. So source is let's see what we get here. Source is ReflectionClass. So does it make sense for getting a reflection class in there? So where are we here? Test 463. So what are we doing here? Path. run tests. So I feel like there should not be oops. So the problem is we're getting an index here, an index error here. Because source is not a string. It's ending up being a reflection class. So somewhere oh, here. Well, I think there. This is what test directories, I think. Did I not save everything? Oh, well, I'm overwriting type. All right. That is why everything else is breaking. Okay. Does make me kind of want to I know it's a mild nuisance having to sort of poke into ClassTest and then test to get the name out of there. And also, I guess, if I do want to undo that change, I should put back that function I deleted in unpack. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, of course, the advantage of version control, right? They're sitting there. I can always pull out an old version of that file that restores it. But I think I'm at a place where let me just take one last look here and test, because I think with that I replaced everything. And so the next step would just be to go through all the code for Discover and just clean all that up. Because we're still doing a lot of janky stuff in there, like for instance, I think this test info class we no longer need. And I think these constants can probably all go away as well. I guess the question is if I want to keep this sort of structure, and actually, you know, I'm not doing too shabby here, and that's not even particularly. So my memory usage is, what are we doing, about 0.06 seconds here, more or less. And 3.429 megs. Let's just stash that. Let's check out the trunk. So our memory usage has gone up a little bit. But our time, we don't seem any slower for the most part. What are we at, about 0.1 megs? Uh-oh. I have another stashed. I have another stashed stash. I have no idea what that is, which probably means I should just drop it. Well, let's not worry about that now. Okay, well, that's fine. Let me just browse through my changes here. Actually, I wonder. So do we use get file name? Just want to make sure. So in Discover here, looks like just in Discover and, yeah, in dependency. Oh, yeah. Well, I guess we don't actually need to worry about it there. Because even if it does return null, then that means we don't care about it. And then same thing here. You don't need to worry about it there. So I feel like we probably don't. Like, I think this assertion is probably fine, I guess is what I'm saying. Because any what is this? A function test or a method test. Anything we reflected, right? We've matched on an existing file name. So maybe I should just document this, I guess. I believe that's actually coming from ReflectionFunction abstract. ReflectionFunction, let's just see, inherited methods, file name, should only ever return, should only set of false, because we only ever reflect functions and methods that have been found in a file. Okay. Let's okay, so that was in dependency. We just pulled out file there. And this is now either a function test or a method test. That check is fine. All looks reasonable there. That all looks reasonable here. You know what I do think I want to do though? Not change lag. I'm just going to put here, move this to do into the code here. What is this, a directory iterator? This file is only supposed to return true if it's a regular file, i.e. neither directory nor a link. It's not clear if stir behaves similarly. Okay. That we just moved that function out. That's a downside to just wholesale moving a function like that is you don't actually see what the changes were that were made. You just have a block. So maybe I should not have done that. But there you go. It has to happen sometime. And here we're just replacing all the names with the names with the actual reflected functions. Yeah, that got cleaned up quite a bit. That's a function I moved up. Did I? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I still don't really like this. I'm gonna have to take a closer look at this test name. And maybe, you know, it's annoying because I'm thinking I can maybe have two versions of that. One, it's where it's resolved from the context of a function, and another where it's resolved from the context of a class. Or maybe not a function, but a file. But I think it's going to be fairly similar logic, but this is a little bit annoying here, having to pull out the class and then get the namespace off of that. So that's why I'm wondering if maybe instead of just holding on to raw reflector classes, maybe I just want to make my own structures and then, like I said, pull out all the information that I want in a format that I want in it. For example, like making sure the namespace is prepended or a suffix appended with the namespace separator, so I could just string it together with a name. I don't know. And then here's where we're just pulling a closure out, and like this too, some of this can actually be cleaned up quite a bit. Like there's no reason, I guess, when we're discovering just straight up functions, we can't just grab or create a callable then. In fact, that's what I was doing, I guess, initially, instead of creating a callable when it comes time to run it. Yeah. And I suppose I could do that anyway, but even if I decide to hold on to like raw reflector classes, but this is all in run, right? So I'm gonna have to come back in through run and clean that up again as well. But I guess these are sort of fairly major changes I'm making that are percolating throughout the framework. I'm just laughing at the having to go through that reflection class stuff. But hey, as long as PHP Stan isn't yelling at me. Yeah, this is all just grabbing closures out of the reflection classes. Updated that function signature. Looks like I just moved that around. Yeah. Added method specifiers and targets here. A nasty assertion I had to fix. And then the deleted functions. Some gratuitous extra white space there. And hey, my computer seems to be hanging in there tonight and not on the verge of overheating. Of course, I better not say that because then I feel like disaster's going to strike. So how long have I been going here? A bit over 2 hours. So I guess I need to figure out, just make sure I'm on the correct branch here. Just trying to think. I don't know. Replace. Oops. I don't know. Use reflector. PHP reflector classes to hold test information. Well, I guess that's exactly 50 lines, so it should be all right, right? If I blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So, right, I'm not making this up. I still have a stash on some branch that I don't even have anymore. Oh, you know what I guess I should do? Let's push this up and see how much stuff breaks on old versions of PHP. And I guess I'll just go private here for a second, make sure I'm logged into GitHub. Looks like I am. Oh no. No reflection method get closure. Great. I'm gonna have to find out when so if this is fail on reflection method get closure. Where are you, get closure? Greater than equal 5.4. So is that also going to be the case in reflection function? Let's look. Yes. So I wonder. Object or class, object or string. So this is going to be let's do the same thing here with so where do I use get closure? It's a good thing I checked that. So it does not look like I use it. I suppose I can just be sure here. So only in run. Well, okay. So I think what I'll do is function get callable. I guess I'll just split this out into two functions. So this will be a reflection function. So if method exists, function get closure. Result equals function get closure. Oops. Else result equals function get name. And then we'll just assert that it's callable. Result, return result. So I don't need to document that, but this is gonna callable, I guess. What is it? Not sure what the oops. Okay, so PHP Stan was happy with that, and so this will be the same thing. Reflection method, function. I think I can type hint that. Not sure when object became a type hint. Unless it isn't. Well, then we'll pass an object. Oops. Object in here. Otherwise, we'll just make this be an array with the object in the method name. I don't know why I made my life difficult here. Oops. I have a feeling PHP 3 isn't going to like that object type hint, but I guess we'll see. And actually, now that we have this, and this will be backwards compatibility. Right, this was good from 5.4 on, so this is backwards compatibility 5.3. Ensure reflection function has its closure method. I kind of feel like this might be more of a to-do now than a fix me. Because just like getting a file name, we've only reflected these because we know they exist and they're callable. So anyway. So where are we here? Callable equals namespace. Oops. I thought I just call this get call. Get callable function. Closure. It's gonna be the same thing. This is going to be the same thing. And this is going to be I got rid of, well, check it out later. Looks to be it. And I actually suppose, oh no, I just said that wasn't in tests. So thinking us for something. All right. Probably seems like the cleanest way at the moment to handle that. Back to actions here. And that was a miserable failure. Oh, it's that type hint. Okay, I knew that type hint was gonna screw things up. So, guess I should have looked it up, but I just of course now I bet PHP Stan is gonna yell at me about object being. Oh, well, I don't. Guess I only need that there. No, it isn't. I thought it was going to yell at me about object being some sort of non-qualified generic type. So where did this start burping on us? Less than 7.2. All right, will second time be the charm, or are we gonna have to go to 3? I've got a good feeling about this. Sweet. Okay. So it's a little bit obnoxious having to put all that stuff in, but it's not the biggest deal in the world. Has been my discovery. But anyway, so that got us an extra 15 minutes or so of coding. But I do think it might be time for me to think about getting something to eat, which means cleaning some dishes so I can put some food on them. So I think I'm going to wrap it up here, and might try and do some more tomorrow once I sort of figure out the next step is, which will probably actually just be going through Discover and kind of sorting all that out. And then I guess maybe making a decision on whether or not to, like I said, hold those raw reflector classes, or if I just might maybe want to make my own sort of mirror data structures that have all the information I want in sort of a pre-formatted way, so I don't have to do all these extra checks or worrying about, hey, is this going to return something not fail? Okay, so yeah, I'm going to call it a night. I have a feeling I may be blabbing to myself, but if there is somebody lurking, then I appreciate you checking in or hanging out. And I guess the next time I'm on, I'm not going to see you, but I guess you'll probably see me. So wherever you are, have a good evening or a good day. Take it easy.